Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Do I get Atmo as well in here?
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, I can hear it, but it's very, very light. Yeah, but minimal.
Ich glaube, Playback ist es, oder? Nee, Playback ist was anderes.
Ja, ich habe schon hochgemacht und ist nix. So intro me quickly, then to the stage, introduce the athletes, then back to me, introduce format and tool and discipline, yeah? Okay. Is the mic sound okay for you? Okay. Yeah, I see that. And it's going to be Bart Janssen and the Schwede. What's his name though? I've forgotten it. Huh? Klamo, yeah. Are we doing introduction of them as well as competition control center? Do you know this? Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Czech Pro Nationals at the STIHL Timbersports for Czechia 2026. This is going to be a bit of an interesting one. We got 12 of the best Czech athletes ready to throw down here at the Czech Nationals at the amphitheater of Horečky in Trojanovicka. I have to get that one right one of these days in Czechia. So it's going to be a great competition, and this is going to find out who from the Czech national athletes will be ranked in the European ranking to make an attempt to get into our World Championships at the end of our regular season, so to say. Let's head over to the main stage and get an introduction of our athletes here as they will come on and get ready for our competition. So we're just waiting for the stage manager to give us the go-ahead and introduce our athletes. We'll bring them out on stage, hopefully one by one, and you'll get to see each of the 12 athletes that will be competing here at the Czech National Championships for 2026. We'll also meet our important judges that will be adjudicating the whole proceedings today and keeping everything fair and even, Steven, throughout the competition. It's a full individual competition setup, so that means 6 disciplines over 3 rounds, starting with the underhand chop, the stock saw, and then the standing block chop in round 1. Round 2 will be the single buck and the springboard, and finally, round 3, it's for all the marbles in the hot saw. You'll find out more about that later on as we get ready to go here, and you can see our stage is set up, and there's a bit of frantic action going on in the background and in the foreground here as papers are distributed to the necessary individuals, our timers, and our stage crew as we get things wound up and ready to go here at the Horečky Amphitheater in Trojanovice, Czechia.
Tak tady dáme pánové dnes podruhé. Hezké odpoledne, krásnou pohodu, skvělý víkend a buďte vítáni. Nebudou ctí a milou povinností vás znovu a podruhé představit a přivítat v rámci 23. mistrovství České republiky ve STIHL Timbersports pro rok 2026. Letos vrchol letošní sezóny STIHL Timbersport Czech Series.
For those of you out there joining the stream and our internet savvy and want to get involved in the conversation, you can check out hashtag STIHL Timbersports or hashtag KissMyAxe, A-X-E, and get involved in the conversation, upload pictures, take a look at what other people have uploaded, and just generally get involved in social media, which there is a lot of in STIHL Timbersports. There's tons of stuff that you can see and check out online with the athletes themselves and with the official event operations. It is a balmy 35 degrees in Czechia at the moment for the event. Luckily, the boys will be competing on a very well-covered stage, but that does not preclude them being hot with all the work that they have to do on stage during these various chopping and sawing disciplines. The first discipline we'll see is the underhand chop, and you can see the blocks set up for our first heats already, and that will be starting shortly after we get the introductions of our athletes and our judges out of the way here. All right, so we'll do the introduction of our judges first, and just coming out on the stage right now is our head judge, Bart Janssen. He will be taking care of all the proceedings on stage, along with Victor Klarmo. Bart Janssen coming from the Netherlands, Victor Klarmo from Sweden. And as always, and maybe we'll get to have a quick view of him. If not, we'll say hi to Schul Janssen, who is sitting in behind everything in the competition control center, where he monitors all of our high-speed cameras to make sure that everything is done fairly on stage in conversation and combination with Victor and Bart on the main stage. And now we're bringing out our athletes. Here we have Václav Krokoška. Up next, Matyáš Klíma. After Matyáš, we have Jan Kamír. Ah, okay. It's going to be Martin Kalina. So they're not doing it in order here. That'll be fun. Karel Divis. Jan Kamír is coming out now. That was number 3 on my list. Martin Rusal, one of the very, very strong favorites here at this competition. Keep an eye on him. And perhaps also Matyáš Klíma, who is the reigning champion for Czechia. We'll see him come out last. Here we have Vítězslav Sukup. And here comes Václav Krokoška now. Ladislav Fikar, waving to the family out in the front row. Thomas Forstal, keep a close eye on him as well today. I feel like he may have a good day. Zdeněk Maras, another strong contender. You could put him among the favorites for the championship here today.
Bylo to záměrně, protože obhájcem loňského titulu je ten, který si vylosoval právě toto číslo.
And there is the man of the day. Everybody's got their eye on him, Matyáš Klíma. He is the man to beat. He's been very, very strong so far this year in the international competition. So now he's got to have a strong day and peak at the right time here in his national championship in order to try and get points and pace for a spot in the finals. So that's our lineup, as crazy as it came out. We are ready to go, so let's take a look at our competition format clip, just so you know how this competition is going to be run down throughout the day in our 3 rounds.
kterou se představil česky, za řezání sériově vyráběnou motorovou pilou STIHL MS661 CR. Co se bude dít posléze? Po těch 3 disciplínách se spočtou body a od 9. do 12. místa řekneme chlapcům adie. Pokračujeme dál, už je post. Zařadí se mezi diváky. Ano, pokračujeme dál. Bude nás čekat 4. a 5. disciplína. 4. disciplínou bude řezací disciplína z ručních poslad. 5. disciplína bude streetboard, na 2 dobomocná prkna, kde závodníci jeviště kolem 3 metrů přesekávají ven opravdu akrobatických pozicí. Velmi atraktivní záležitost, nutno to dotknout a předpokládám, že pak se zase učit. Je to tak, tam opět řekneme 2 borcům bohem a poslední 6 nastoupí na závěrečnou disciplínu, která je hodorována trojnásobným počtem bodů. V prvním kole dostávají po 1 bodu, ve druhém kole už jenom 8. Po 2 bodech, takže ta první bere 16, 14 a dál. A ve třetím kole získává ta šestice trojnásobný počet bodů, takže 18, 15, 12, 9 a tak dále. Čas se naplnil, velmi atraktivní program.
So 3 rounds to get to the hot saw to determine who our winner of the national competition will be here today, and we are gonna start things off with our first discipline in round 1, and that is the underhand chop. Here is the tool and discipline for the underhand chop.
Budou na stojanu číslo 2 Matyáš Klíma a na stojanu číslo 1 Krkoška. První čas, respektive vznikne první čas na mistrovství republiky, první start, Matyáš Klíma, 45-75.
Okay, athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
A nechceme legislativně protože zapálení spojte do toho konkrétního konec. To jsou borci s největší vervou nejlepší.
All right, so they're already on it in this first heat between Krkoška and Matyáš Klíma. And as Krkoška getting onto that second side, a little bit behind Klíma, who's well ahead on that second side here. Got a pretty narrow cut where Krkoška has a wide open cut, but it's a personal best of 30.31 for Matyáš Klíma. A very, very nice cut for him. And Krkoška gets a 40.42, also a personal best. Like to see that, the personal best flying away right away in these early heats. And I should remind everybody, just like the competition format said, these are about getting the fastest times possible. You will see 2 athletes on stage each time, but it's not elimination. So, Viktor Klármo with the official fallout here.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Tak to slyšíme rádi. Oba výsledky se tedy mohou zapsat černým písmem do disciplína.
All right, taking a look back here in the slow-mo, right off the hop, both of these guys getting into that block really, really nicely. Matyáš Klíma chipping out super, super quickly with some big, big chips and getting a lot of power into those drivers. There you can see he switches over to the other side. Nice, quick, stable shift and gets straight into work on that second side. He had a fairly closed face on that second side. This is the second side face from Václav Krkoška. And you can see Leos with a very, very nice finish there. And here the final driver through and clean for Václav Krkoška. All right, so we have our first times in the books. Matyáš Klíma with the time to beat so far of 30.07. And the next blocks will come out and be set for heat number 2 between Jan Kamír and Vítězslav Soukup. So the athletes are required to set the blocks in position themselves. These blocks are also chosen by lottery, so it's not as though the blocks are just handed to the athletes and they're told to cut this block. They have these competition wood comes from usually the same stands, or at least the same trees in some cases if we're really lucky, so that they are as evenly matched up as possible. The wood has been cutting very, very well this year, chopping especially. We've seen a lot of personal bests fall by the wayside, and we're hoping to see a lot more of that here today in the very hot weather in the Czech Championships 2026 as Jan Kamír and Vítězslav Soukup come out onto the stage for their heat. Jan Kamír will have stand number 1 here on stage left, and Vítězslav Soukup stand number 2 on stage right as they get ready for heat number 2. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, personal best for both of these guys are pretty evenly matched up. Jan with a 37.84, Vítězslav with a 36.07. And you can see right away Jan Kamír chipping out some really nice big pieces there. And Vítězslav on the other side of the stage doing quite well. The pace is not really fast for these two, but they've got power going into it. Jan Kamír switching to the second side of his block nicely and getting started on that second block with some nice big chips falling out there. And Vítězslav Soukup also with those power drivers on that second side need to work down towards the bottom of that block, and it's Jan Kamír looking like he is through there. Yeah, that's going to be final. Probably add a little bit more time onto that one, but a time of 32.01 currently is a personal best for Jan Kamír, and that pushes him into second place. I believe that will be just a hair slower though, because he did step down and step back up for his final driver.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So thumbs up from Viktor Klarmo, and we have official times locked in. And Vítězslav Soukup with third place with a 33.79. And so far, all of them have stood the time and are personal best. So very, very good start to our competition here in Czechia with a fantastic group of 4 personal bests right away. And you can see here some really nice drivers on that first side of the second side of the block, I should say. Some big chips flying away from these blocks. And as I mentioned, the blocks this year are just chopping very, very nicely. Tons of personal bests falling by the wayside. And that's a testament to how good this competition wood really is. And there is that step down and step up by Jan Kamír. But it didn't seem to have troubled him too much. The time did actually get adjusted. So it is now a 33.11 because of that step down, but he still does hold on to second place in the underhand chop results. So far, so good in our competition here at the amphitheater. Last minute reparations on the stage for the stands. and our team making sure that there's no little bits and bobs there that could cause problems or become an issue for our athletes coming on stage. They want to make sure the stage is as clean as possible for these guys when they get out there and set things up. You can see that stand that the block is being set in, and there's also those footholds on top of the block that have been cut in previous to the competition. So the athlete has to stand on those footholds, and there are markers on there as well. As part of the safety proceedings here, the footholds may not be cut by the athlete. So heat number 3 will be Tomáš Vorstal on stand number 1 to the left, and Ladislav Fikar on stand number 2 to the right. You can see him testing earlier his transition. Now, if he actually transitions like that in the competition, that will be amazing to watch, because he bunny hopped that one. So it'll be fun to see if he can pull that off during the competition. Time to beat so far, Matyáš Klíma with the 30.07. and a personal best for him. The dogs are in place now on the side of the blocks to hold them in, and we can get our athletes out for heat number 3 with Tomáš Vorstal and Ladislav Fikar.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, Tomáš Vorstal into it along with Ladislav Fikar. Both of them doing nicely on that first side. Let's see if Ladislav does do the bunny hop transition to the second side. Tomáš taking his time to move over carefully. We unfortunately didn't see the hop of Ladislav Fikar, but Vorstal and Fikar really evenly matched up here. It looks like Vorstal might get through that block first. Oh, he got a sticky axo, but he's got it, and he's done it in 31.31 personal best and moves into second place. And it is Ladislav Fikar with a very nice cut, sits down there with a 33.86. Currently in 5th place. These times are very, very close together.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so personal best for Tomáš Vorstal in that one, and that puts him in second place in the standings for the moment. Unfortunately for Ladislav Fikar, we did not get a personal best out of that one, but still a decent cut for him, and his time actually was adjusted slightly, and he moves up into 4th place in the underhand chop rankings. As we take a look back at some of the slow-mo replays, you can see there Tomáš got himself quite a sticky axe on that one driver. And I was really waiting to see that bunny hop around by Ladislav Fikar, but unfortunately we didn't catch that. And yeah, maybe he didn't do it and opted for the safer transition to the second side of his block. See that edge there, the scarf of the block looking nice and clean. Not very steppy, but the steps that were there were very, very minor. That means the accuracy is quite good here. A little bit more steps, but a lot of power going into those drivers. And there you see our current ranking, the live ranking. Matyáš Klíma in that top spot with Tomáš Vorstal, Jan Kamir, and Ladislav Fikar, and Vítězslav Sukup in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, respectively. All right, quick transition here as we get our next blocks in place for heat number 4 between Karel Diviš and Martin Kalina. Martin Kalina, a legend in Czech timber sports. Another one of those guys that could well be the man on top of the podium today. There are a few people that will have some stuff to say about that, though. None less than Martin Rusal and Matyáš Klíma, who are in the very, very last heat today, in heat number 6. But that is yet to come. 2 more heats to go before that. But in the meantime, we wait for Karel Diviš and Martin Klíma to come out on stage for their heat number 4. Looks like both of these guys have shaved their heads with the axes. That's how sharp they are.
Okay.
Here we go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Right into it quick by both Karel Diviš and Martin Klíma. Oh, they got some pace here, and Martin Klíma onto that second side very quickly. Karel Diviš about 5 or 6 drivers behind Klíma as Klíma is through, and he's got a 22.07. That puts him in first place with the fastest time of the day, and Karel Diviš is a fantastic time right there as well, the 28.21. Not his personal best, but he does slip into second place there. Martin Klíma does manage to get a personal best with an official time of 21.73.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
That was a really nice heat between Martin Klíma and Karel Diviš. They really pushed each other through on that one, but Martin Klíma showed his pedigree here with an absolutely fantastic run of 21.73. So far from 8 athletes, 6 have managed to put personal best behind them. So that is a good sign for how everything is chopping today. And that may well bode nicely for the standing block chop and later on the springboard. All right, next heat coming up between Zdeněk Maráš and Zdeněk Opletal. Blocks need to be placed first by our athletes and their helpers. So the pair of bookend Zdeněk here, and we'll just stick with their last names. Maráš on the left-hand side of your stage and Opletal on the right-hand side of the stage there. All right, stands appear to be ready. Stage looks like it's also ready. So heat number 5 of 6 coming out on stage. Zdeněk Maráš and Zdeněk Opletal. There we see Maráš in position stand number 1, and Opletal position stand number 2.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, straight into it on that first side. Good pace by both of these gentlemen. Zdeněk Matyáš on the left-hand side seems to be a little bit quicker with the axe than Opletal, but Opletal is over to that second side, about a half driver ahead of Matyáš, as he was quicker to move on to side 2, but the pace of Matyáš is doing well, but the power of Opletal is not to be reckoned with here. 21.46. Opletal moves into the top position in the underhand chop, and Matyáš, with a nice cut as well with a 25.68, is sitting in 3rd place. So the pace continues to increase as we go down our list.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so the official times there, and Zdeněk Matyáš with a 25.68, not his fastest cut, but a very good cut nevertheless, managed to put himself into 3rd position, a good position to be in this late in the list, and Zdeněk Opletal with a fantastic 21.23, 0.5 of a second faster than Martin Kalina, who had a great time, and both he and Kalina have personal bests there as well. So very, very nice start for the competition with one more heat to go in the underhand chop, and then we'll take a look at the results and the points distribution and how it works. Yeah, you could see Opletal was super pleased with that cut. He threw all the power he had into that one. I wonder if he's got a pair of those shoes just like that at home. All right, last heat coming up is going to be Martin Rušal against Matyáš Klíma. Matyáš Klíma, by and large, the favorite here. Martin Rušal and Matyáš Klíma, both members of the Czech national timber sports team. So we'll likely see both of them on the same team when it comes time for our World Championships in October on the 30th and 31st of October. I said that, didn't I? 2 times October, and it's going to be a good event. And Matyáš Klíma just recently competing, representing Czechia at the World Trophy in Budapest in Hungary, having a good showing there as well. Matyáš managed to get 7th place at the World Trophy 2025, and the European Trophy 25 he was in 2nd place, so we'll likely see him competing for the European Trophy in a few weeks' time as well. Perhaps he'll be on top of that podium, but there are quite a few strong competitors that will be doing their very best to try and be atop that podium, and we've seen a lot of improvements in the trophy format as well in the last little while. There we see Martin Rušal. Super nice guy, quite a funny guy as well. You don't see him get too jokey too often, but when he does, it can make you laugh. Matyáš Klíma. Very shy fella, Matyáš. Except when he starts chopping. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Now you see here the difference between these guys and the very early guys, Matyáš and Martin, both going for a quick pace. Matyáš quick onto that 2nd side, and I may well see him through there in a very good time. It's a national record even, and a season's best 15.84 for Matyáš Klíma. Holy smokes, folks, was that fast. My, was that quick. Martin Roussel with a 24:03. That still has him in 4th place there, but a blistering time. And if you could say it was done, he threw the gauntlet down with that chop. Matyáš Klíma with an absolutely fantastic 15:64 and a national record. Well done.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Yeah, both cuts are good. Were they ever? Matyáš Klíma with a 15.64. That is the official time and a new national record for the underhand chop for Czechia. And you can see here the pace for Matyáš is just insane. Martin Roussel had very, very powerful drivers, but for every single driver from Martin, we saw 2 drivers from Matyáš, and that's what I meant from the pace. He was just going in there with accuracy, with speed, with power as well, and it all played a role in getting him that new national record, and he is pleased by that. Look at that reaction right there. All right, so as this is our first discipline, the underhand chop will also be our overall ranking, with Matyáš Klíma pulling in a full 12 points for that discipline. Behind him, Zdeněk Opletal, and then Martin Kalina in 3rd place with those 10 points. So it's important to try and gain as many points throughout the competition as possible as we get ready for our next discipline coming up, and that will be the stock saw. And again, consistency throughout this competition is going to be so important. So the guys that are in 8, 7, 6, 5, you know, these are not bad positions to be in, but you want to try and be in and among the top 4 to 5 and try and keep that consistency throughout the competition. And if you can do that, then you have a very, very good chance of being in the mix at the end through 1, 2, and 3 rounds and getting to that hot saw round. But we still do have 2 more disciplines in round 1. The next discipline coming up is the stock saw, and for more information about the stock saw, here is the tool and discipline for stock saw. Or maybe not. Interesting, they've put the Lexon shields up for the stock saw. Ah, here we go.
Tak jsem moc rád, že jste využili přestávečky a osvěžení, kterou vám rádi dopřáváme, nejen proto, že nás o to požádala zdravotní hlídka, že v těchto teplotách opravdu potřebujeme pravidelně osvěžit, ale náš crew tým, který je neúnavný, už připravil všechno pro druhou disciplín, kterou bude stock saw, řezání sériově vyráběnou motorovou pilou STIHL LS661 CM a úkolem závodníků bude odříznout 2 kompletní kotouče, 10 cm výseči a bloku o průměru 40 cm.
So thin to win is the buzzword here. You want to try and cut 2 thin cookies off that 10 centimeter space in the quickest time possible, as you just heard. But it's not all about power here. This is about knowing your tool. And what they don't tell you in that discipline explanation is it's easy to learn this discipline, but it's very difficult to become adept and very good at it because there's a lot going on here. If you push the saw too hard, you could stop that chain or bog down the engine and stall it, which means you have to restart to recut, and that costs time, which is of the essence here. If you're not pushing hard enough, however, you're not really cutting material, you're just sort of floating above it, and that also doesn't help you at all. So our first heat coming out, Václav Krokoška, and Karel Diviš are our first two athletes here for stock saw. And this is a warm start, so the saw will be started and warmed up by our athletes and then left running for the start of the competition.
Okay. Warm up your saw. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very, very quick start by Krokoška. Karel Diviš with a nice cut, but Krokoška a little bit of a bobble on his transition to the upcut. Karel Diviš might catch him. No, it's not going to do it. It's a personal best 12.74 for Krokoška and a 13.99 for Diviš.
Okay. Both cuts are good.
So after adjustment, Krokoška with a 12.66 PB, very, very nice cut. We can see here he had a little bit of a bobble getting there, but he barely hesitated getting into the wood. Nice thin cookie to start. Great pressure on the first cut. You can see Diviš is a little bit more relaxed about the situation. Diviš had a really nice transition and got into that upcut. There was a bit of a bobble by Krokoška on the upcut and the transition, but he also had a really nice thin cookie there too. So he was a bit quicker all in all, and has the first place at the moment in stock saw results and a personal best. See our judges marking the blocks with that 10 centimeter space. Again, 10 centimeters from the edge of the block, the front edge of the block, to the cut line. If a cookie lands on the deck incomplete or is cut out, or if there's a line that is cut, as you heard in the description of the event or the discipline, then that will constitute a disqualification. Now, DQ is probably about the worst thing that you can have happen here in this competition, because for a DQ you get 0 points, and I think most of these athletes would rather have a slow time and a low point score than get a DQ and 0 points at all. I think that's safe to assume across the board here. So it's really about having your cuts as accurate and clean as possible. All right, stage is ready for heat number 2 between Jan Kamír and Vítězslav Sukup. See, we seem to be having the occasional connection problem with the live feeds. We'll have that back running clean for you soon, hopefully, and we'll get this heat number 2 between Jan Kamir and Vítězslav Sukup underway. Again, we are in the second discipline of round 1, the stock saw, where the object, if you're just joining our stream, is to cut 2 complete cookies from a 10-centimeter space off of this block that you see on screen right now. All right, so we are back to streaming here, and we have the heats underway already. Vítězslav Sukup with a nice transition up. Jan Kamir looking like he might have a nice cut as well. Boy, that was close, a 13:02 to a 12:79. All right, so the cuts are good, and Vítězslav Sukup with a very, very good time of 12:64 moves into the first place in the stock saw results. Jan Kamir slips just behind Václav Kroška in third place with a 12:91, and you can see here, really nice start by both these guys. Good control of the saw. We'll check the transitions here at the bottom of this cut for Sukup. Yeah. Ooh, that was a bit of a fat transition there by Jan Kamir, and that came real close to the line. Sukup, however, had a really nice transition and a decently thin cookie. That's about, well, it's a bit thicker than normally, at a bit of an angle there, but you can see that is a fat chocolate chip cookie right there for Jan Kamir. So stage crew doing a little bit of block conditioning there to make sure that those lines are nice and straight for our athletes, and our judges jump in there to mark them up again. And it appears as though Victor Klarmo is taking over head judge duties this day on the front of house there, and Bart Janssen is opting to be the assistant judge in this case. So Victor getting his time in the spotlight, so to say. Okay, heat number 3 coming out with Ladislav Fikar and Zdeněk Maraš. Ladislav Fikar will be on the left side of your stage there, and Zdeněk Maraš on the right-hand side.
Okay, warm up your saw. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very quick start, no hesitation by Fikar as he got right into that block. Nice cut by Maraš on the other side, though. Fikar looking a little bit thin, and it's going to be close at the end with a 12.89 and a 12.82, but I believe we may have a cutout by Fikar as he got close to it, but it appears to be he's okay, so we might have 2 good cuts here.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, good. I thought I saw a bit of a cutout there by Ladislav Fikar, but it turns out it is quite okay. Zdeněk Maras also with a nice cut, and they are currently sitting Zdeněk Maras in third place with a 12.71 and Ladislav Fikar with a 12.86. But there was zero hesitation by either of these guys. Pick up the saw, go straight into the wood, just keeping that nice pressure on. Right here, by Ladislav Fikar, it could have been a little bit too much pressure on that saw. Nice transition out of the upcut. Barely any swing at all. And here we see Maras, calm, cool as a cucumber as he strokes through that top of the block. And both of them really, really nice technique. Different techniques as they come to the top and cutting out evenly. Bart Janssen, our official on the left-hand side of your stage, is instrumental in almost all of the European timber sports events in that he is one of the primary suppliers of the wood that these athletes use for the competitions as well as for training. And he does a lot along with the rest of the STIHL team to try and make sure that that wood is as fair as possible for these athletes when they come out here and get ready for competition. They're chopping on poplar and cutting on pine. So heat number 4, Thomas Forsdahl against Martin Klíma. There's Thomas setting himself up.
Okay, warm up your saw.
Thomas not having the day that I thought he would have here as he's about mid-pack on the underhand chop. So maybe he can pick up the pace here on our stock saw.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, good pickup and start by both of them. Forsdahl, very, very thick first cookie. That's going to mean he's going to need a perfect transition to the upcut. And it looks pretty good so far. As long as he stays within that blue line, he should be safe. But it's Martin Klíma with a solid 12.29 cut. That puts him atop the standings for stock saw. And we may be close to a cut line at the top of that second cookie by Thomas Forsdahl. Let's see. Both judges are now conferring on it as they take a close look. They want to make sure that that line is not cut, and they will take the time to really pay attention to this one here and make sure that they get a fair assessment on it. Looks like it's okay though.
Okay, both cuts are good.
All right, so breath of relief by Thomas Forsdahl. 13.28 puts him in 7th place at the moment in the stock saw results. You can see here, he got in there quickly. Slight hesitation. Well, actually not really, but that cookie was very, very thick to start, and that doesn't leave you a lot of space on the back end. Now, the cut from Martin Klíma, on the other hand, nice and steady as he goes. Transition was good, got right into the wood on that transition. A little bit of a swing, but his alignment was on point. He had a really nice thin second cookie, and that just gave him the advantage on that upcut. So again, last bits of preparation for our next heat, and these heats are ripping by in the stock saw. And it is going to be between Matyáš Klíma and Matyáš Klíma. So it looks like there has been a request for a straightening of the cut on the block on stand 1, where Matyáš Klíma will do his cut. You can see the line that they marked there leaves a little bit at the bottom, so they want to come back in and they'll put this special rig on board. You can see it right there, and that's going to help them make sure that they're having a nice clean and straight cut down.
Takže na stran číslo 2 vítejme Matyáše Klímu a na stran číslo 1 Miloše.
So Matyáš Klíma, you can see him now using the grease pencil to mark his lines for his start cut and his finish cut. These are very helpful in helping you make sure that your targeting is exactly on point and you're not guessing where your saw needs to go into the wood. It's really just about now having your routine set up.
Athletes ready.
Send to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
There was a little dip in the matrix there as Matyáš Klíma and Matyáš Klíma both very, very nice cuts. It's going to be Matyáš and Leah almost dead even. Boy, and look how thin those cookies are from Matyáš Klíma. We might have a cutout though, and they're checking Matyáš as well.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So both cuts are good. Matyáš Klíma and Matyáš Klíma, first and third now. Excuse me. Matyáš has second place in the stock saw result. Matyáš is in third place right behind him. So you can see here in Matyáš, very nice transition on the upcut. Matyáš, good clean upcut on a thin cookie. No drag at all on that saw. Look how thin that is. It's paper thin. Ooh, risky. But he had a good solid cookie, and that is about that technique, that timing, and that practice. All those times that you lift and cut and transition and cut to make sure that everything is really on point. So it's just about muscle memory at that point at the end. All right, last heat coming up in stock saw, heat number 6, with Martin Roussel and Zdeněk Opletal. Martin Roussel having a little bit of fun there. Zdeněk Opletal, all business.
Tak a čeká nás poslední šestý hýt na stran číslo 2. Přichází Zdeněk Opletal a na stran číslo 1 Martin Roussel.
So Martin, very, very solid stock sawyer. his personal best, a 9.61. Zdeněk Opletal, though, no slouch. A little bit faster in the tail of the tape, actually goes to Zdeněk with a 9.40.
Okay, warm up your stall.
So either one of these two guys, if they have even remotely close to what they are potentially able to cut, could lead in the stock star results and just switch things up entirely in the overall rankings. Here we go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very nice start by Zdeněk Opletal. He got in there. Martin Roussel. Boy, what a great transition by Roussel, though. He's so solid with this. He's not going to get that personal best time, but he's sitting in third place right now with a very solid 12.51. Opletal with a 13.10. And that puts him, unfortunately, down in 10th position there as Roussel plays a little bit and has some fun. He is in the top 3 here in this
Okay,
discipline.
congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, we'll take a quick look back at the slow-mos here, and then we'll have a look at the overall standings after we get our stock star results. So this is a really, really nice cut there from Martin Roussel. I thought he would be a bit faster, but you can see here he made a bit of a foot adjustment, and that might have slowed his cut down a little bit. You can see the saw basically moving back and forth, but that transition was fantastic. Really, really nice upcut for Opletal as well, but he slowed down through the middle part on that long wood, and then Roussel, you can see just a nice push away finish cut there, and a fine way to finish it up here. So we'll take a look here shortly at the stock saw results and then how that affects the overall rankings now that we have 2 disciplines in the books. Dance like nobody's watching, Martin. Okay, stock saws. So there we see Martin Kalina, Matyáš Klíma, and Martin Roussel in the top 3 positions, with Leoš Klíma and Vítězslav Sukup rounding out the top 5. So let's see how that affects our overall rankings here when we now tag in the points that have been allotted here. And that should change things up a little bit. I believe that Matyáš Klíma should stay atop the rankings. Maybe. We'll see. I guess we don't get the overall rankings graphic, unfortunately. But what I will tell you is Matyáš Klíma does in fact stay atop the rankings, with Martin Kalina in 2nd place and Martin Roussel in 3rd place. So 3 guys that we expected would be among the favorites are definitely showing their stripes right now. Matyáš Klíma, here we go. Now we're getting some overall standings. So there it is, 23 points for Matyáš, but Martin Kalina just 1 point back, and then another 3 points back from him is Martin Roussel. So those 3 guys right now are holding on to it in the top positions, but we are going to be moving on to our next discipline shortly, and that is the final discipline in this first round. That is the standing block chop, and that is going to maybe be an equalizer for some of these guys. The wood has been chopping very well today, so as we saw in the underhand chop, we have a bunch of personal bests. Will we have the same thing happen in the standing block chop? We'll find out shortly. In the meantime, let's take a look at the discipline standing block chop and a quick explanation how that's going to work. Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result. And there we can see our stands being set up for our first heat, and that is going to be Václav Krkoška going up against Tomáš Folstal. And there we see our heat list. Then we'll see Matyáš Klíma against Vítězslav Sukup, Jan Kamir, Ladislav Fikar, Zdeněk Opletal, Martin Kalina, Karel Diviš, Zdeněk Maraš, and Martin Roussel. And Matyáš Klíma will be our final heat in the first round and in the discipline standing block chop. So as this is the end of round one and our final heats in round one, the stage crew is setting up for round two, and the first discipline in round two will be the single buck or the misery whip, and that is what they're setting up on stage right now, making sure that they've got their blocks in position, just to save a little bit of time on the transition between our standing block chop and cleaning up there a little bit later on after the discipline is done, and when we start our second round, where we will in fact eliminate a few athletes from the mix. We're going to be losing 4 of our 12 athletes, and we'll move forward to the next round with the top 8 ranked athletes. All right, looks like we are more or less ready to go. All right, so standing block chop, first heat out on stage, Václav Kokoška and Tomáš Volštal. So again, cutting through from both sides, trying to get clean and powerful cuts and be as accurate and fast as possible. Here we go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right. So into the wood they go, both of them chipping nicely here. Last thing you want to do is get that axe stuck in there. Kokoška's done that a couple of times. Volštal now moved to the second side of his block and tries to increase the pace on that second side. Volstal's personal best is 35.14, so he's trying to find his way through now. He might have tried to go there a bit too early, and this is just a bit of experience. Kokoschka, on the other hand, is trying to dump in there and get through quickly, and it looks like we might have a personal best for Tomasz Volstal. We do, in fact, a 33.91. He was trying to find his way through that block, and I thought it was a bit too early. May well have been, and yeah, Kokoschka has also done a personal best of 49.08. Those aren't record-breaking times right there, but they'll both be pleased with personal bests in the books, and that will be somewhere to start to work towards improving each one.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
It was a really promising start for Tomasz Volstal on that first side. He had some really, really nice big chips, but he may have shortcutted just a little bit as he moved on to that second side. Might have left a little bit too much material there for him to cut through. And you can see there he had to struggle to get that axe out as he started on his second side. Looked okay though from that perspective, but he was just trying to find that line through, in my opinion, a little bit too early. But obviously he had the power to do it and manages to get himself a personal best of 33.71. He actually sent that block traveling across that stage. Next blocks being brought out for our next two athletes, Matyáš Klíma and Vítězslav Soukup will be competing in this one here as the blocks for them are brought out into the stand positions. Our athletes will need to be out there as well to make sure that they are in the position that they want them in, because these blocks are pre-marked by our athletes backstage prior to them going out, and you'll see in some cases you can see that blue marking on there. So they want to make sure that that is in the position they want it to be in for when they start and when they transition. You can see Matyáš Klíma making some final adjustments here and ensuring that it is in fact where he wants it and needs it to be. And then those dogs, those big heavy metal pegs will be hammered into place, and then they will be secured with a strap around them so that they don't get loose by impact. It does happen from time to time, and you will sometimes see the block move quite a bit in that stand when it loosens up from the dogs, and what happens there is the axe impacts that block, and then the block moves. Instead of being cut, it actually absorbs the power of the driver from the axe, and there isn't a really efficient cut. Doesn't happen very often, but when it does happen, you can really see it, because the power that these guys have, just it's like, you know, giants hammering away on these blocks, and they have so much power and so much impact. They have to really be in there in a very, very stable position. So here we go with our heat number 2, Matyáš Klíma and Vítězslav Soukup. You can see Matyáš Klíma has a bottle of this special material that he'll put on the axe face before making his cut, and that is just to prevent that initial cut from not sticking too heavily. Some athletes use it, some opt to not use it.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start by Matyáš Klíma. Very, very clean entries and exits into that block. Super nice scarf on the bottom, though. He got a bit steppy there, though, and he switches to the other side. Looks like that was an 8-hit front, and as Soukup onto that second side, left a little bit of salad on the first side. Might have seen Klíma go over to that second side and decided himself to try and keep up with the Joneses, as it were. And Klíma coming close to getting through his block. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Soukup first or Klíma first? As we get a little bit of a delay, and it's going to be Klíma dropping that block in 32.47, and not far behind in a 33.45 personal best is Soukup. So again, the chopping disciplines prove to be where the guys are getting their personal best, which is really, really nice to see.
Okay, congratulations. Both cups are good.
Yeah, Leos was cleaning out that first side very, very nicely. You could see every driver had material coming out, and not just, you know, one or two chips. He was chipping out massive amounts of material there on that second side. I think he might have left a little bit of salad on the first side as well. But here, the last driver out into left field with a really, really nice final blow, and Soukup, there was his final driver. Pretty solid. So, and we saw Matyáš Klíma with the fastest time so far. So the time to beat 32.22. As we take a look at our live standings and get ready for the block placement for our next athletes. And that's going to be Jan Kamír and Ladislav Fikar. And again, weather not making life easy for these guys. 35 degrees, and even though they do have shade there, it doesn't appear like there's much, if any, wind at all. I think they'd probably be also maybe wishing that the guys with the leaf blowers up on stage clearing the wood chips off would, you know, give them a couple of quick shots under the shirts to cool off their bodies before coming out for their heat. And Jan Kamír realizing, oh yeah, right, I've got a cut here, I need my axes, as he heads backstage. And here comes Ladislav Fikar out on stage.
Okay, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ladislav Fikar, Jan Kamír, both getting into that block at the same time, roughly, starting well. Who's going to be around to that other side and transition quickly? It's going to be Ladislav Fikar. A bit of a steppy first side there. Jan Kamír, a few more extra hits on that first side, and Fikar looking very good on this second side. He might well have a good solid time here, and it looks like he really wants to get through that block, and he's going to do it. A personal best of 29.94. A very nice cut by Ladislav Fikar, and also the fastest cut of the day so far. Jan Kamír trying to find his way through, opts to go for another upcut, and then goes for those downward drivers, and a 44.03. Not the best time so far. And that puts him currently in 5th place, just ahead of Václav Krakowska.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so that was heat number 3. We got 3 more heats to go here, and then we'll find out who gets to stick around and move on to rounds number 2 on our single buck and springboard disciplines. As we take a look back here, Ladislav Fikar, really nice standing block chop for him today. And you can actually see these blocks are moving ever so slightly, but it's the entire stand, and this is what I was talking about. These guys have power. I mean, the head speed that they're putting into that block with that axe is just insane. Ladislav Fikar, 2 more drivers here. And even with that steppy first side, he had a really nice cut. Yep, clean through. Solid run from him. Jan Kamir struggling a little bit to find that line. So next blocks are set for Zdeněk Opletal on the left and Martin Kalina on the right. It's these disciplines where you've got to move around the block quickly that the stage crew plays such a critical role here to make sure that that stage is tidy. You can see a lot of those wood chips at the very front of the stage. They're right out of the way of our athletes, but if any of those wood chips end up under their feet when they're trying to transition to the other side of that block, and we have seen it happen, we actually saw it at a World Championships a few years ago where the Canadian competitor slipped and fell down, had to get back up and continue chopping, and believe it or not, he actually won that heat. So proud moment for all you Canadians out there. But yeah, it's really important that that stage area stay as clean as possible. In fairness to the stage crew at that one event, it was the chips from the Canadian athletes block that he chipped out that were in the way that he slipped on. Okay,
Athletes
here we go.
ready.
Stand to your timber.
Looks like we might join this heat in process because we've had a little bit of a freeze frame here. So not quite sure where we are with Zdeněk Opletal and Martin Kalina at the moment as we wait for our stream to reconnect. All right. Not much drama there for us at all.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Zdeněk Opletal with an invisible cut of 20.16, a personal best. And Martin Kalina, 24.18, also a very nice personal best. That puts them in 1 and 2, respectively, in this discipline. It's also going to change things around a little bit in the overall standings, but there are still 2 more heats to come as we get some slow-mo action. At least we get to see them cutting there as Opletal, big man, plenty of power. Kalina, also a legend in timber sports in Czechia. You can see that transition around, and you really have to be aware of your footing on the stage as well. I mean, there are, you know, chips that come out of these guys' blocks. And here are the drivers from Opletal. Look at the power of that last driver from the big man, though, and how excited is he. Nice. Oh, and Martin Kalina not that far behind there, too. So a couple of nice drivers. In fact, one complete driver behind was Martin Kalina from Zdeněk Opletal. So, yeah, he's happy about that. That puts him in first place in standing block. And that should change his destiny a little bit in the overall rankings as well. We'll take a look at that after 2 more heats. at the moment, Zdeněk Opletal with the time to beat a 20.16 personal best. Matyáš Klíma right behind him with a 21.22 personal best for him as well. And Ladislav Fikar also had a really strong 29.61 personal best. So we've got, again, from 8 athletes, 6 personal bests. Very nice. So 2 more heats to go, heats 5 and 6. Heat 5 will have Karel Diviš and Zdeněk Maráš. And heat 6 will be Martin Roussel and Matyáš Klíma, who seem to be on a collision course with each other to go head-to-head towards the final. They've both been performing really well here today. Martin Kalina right now has 33 points and he is in the top spot, but there are still 4 athletes to cut here in this 3rd and final discipline in round 1. Karel Diviš and Zdeněk Maráš.
Okay, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Quick start by Karel Diviš. I hope that wasn't ahead of the gun. Zdeněk Maráš was Zdeněk on the second side very quickly. Shortcut that first side again. I think that was maybe 6 hits. I'm not quite sure. I didn't give it a good proper count, but he is really going for it. He wants to find his way through that. Oh, but he split the block and he's done it. 22.37. A solid time for Zdeněk Maráš with a 3rd place right now in standing block, and Karel Diviš with a 24.32. And that has him in 4th place in standing. No personal best for these guys, but in good positions.
Okay, all cuts are good.
Right off the hop, really quickly into that block. Karel Diviš here. You can see some nice big chips flying away. Look at that one, just flew all the way over from Zdeněk Maráš's side to over to Diviš's side. That's crazy. Now you can see there a lot of material still left, but he felt obviously good enough to get through there. So Maráš opted to go for the heavy hits on that backside. Diviš, same, little bit of salad on the front side for him as well. Pretty steppy, but it worked out. So now we are down to our final heat in the standing block chop, our final heat in the 1st round, and it is going to determine who is going to be in and who is going to be out. Top 8 athletes will move on to round number 2 and our discipline single buck and springboard. The bottom 4 athletes will be unfortunately eliminated from competition.
3, 2, 1, go!
Okay, so Martin Roussel on the left-hand side of your stage. Matyáš Klíma will be on the right-hand side of the stage. The stands are ready. The boys will collect their axes shortly. Martin is off stage, and Matyáš just doing one last final chalk check where he will put his feet during his heat. Both of these guys very solid in this discipline. Both of them have very, very nice personal bests. Martin Roussel with an 18.41, Matyáš Klíma with a 16.47. So Matyáš has the national record in the underhand. Our first chopping discipline of the day. Can he do it again in standing block chop? We've very often seen, though, Martin Roussel as the backup, the final hitter in the team competition in this very discipline. So two guys that are well versed with each other battling here. Let's go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, and the pace between these two guys is absolutely insane. Matyáš Klíma quick on that first side, will transition very fast to that second side as he has done. Martin Roussel very, very steppy on that first side. Oh my goodness, a season's best from Matyáš Klíma, a 17.26. It's not a national record, but it is another solid score. Martin Roussel with a 24.96. He got a little too much junk in the trunk on that first side and had more work to do on the second side. He wanted to keep up with Matyáš on that one, but boy, I tell you, that 17.26 for Matyáš Klíma, what a fantastic cut that was. And it is not, in fact, the season's best. That was a mistake in our graphic system. It's not even Matyáš's fastest time, but it is a very good time, and it has been adjusted.
Congratulations! Both cuts are good.
So Matyáš a little bit faster with a 16.95. Yeah, and they're giving us that season's best. Oh, it is, in fact, the season's best. Excuse me. Previous season's best was 17.83. So that is a very, very nice cut. Not even Matyáš's fastest time. But you can see here the pace from both of these guys really, really good. Matyáš didn't waste any time. 8 hits on that first side, and then he went over to that second side. Martin, his targeting was just a little bit off here. He had a lot of junk, as I said, on that first side. Matyáš, the scarf on his was really, really nice and clean. That just means accurate drivers, lots of power in there, and he's obviously been working very hard to make sure that he has got this down pat. You can see how smooth those sides are. Beautiful hit there. What a way to finish it off. And I think we can be sure that both of these guys are going to be aiming for each other in the final, but you can see there's a lot of steppiness on that first side from Martin Roussel. So, standing block chop results, Matyáš Klíma with the fastest time of the day, a 16.95. Then Zdeněk Opletal and Martin Kalina, 1, 2, and 3 there. Then we have Zdeněk Maráš and Karel Diviš in positions 4 and 5 respectively. Now let's see how that affects the overall standings as we jump a little bit here past the rest of the guys in the standing block chop results. We'll try and get those overall results a little bit faster than we did last time there. Pretty sure that Matyáš is going to hold on to that top spot. All right, here we go. Overall standings. So no change for Matyáš at the top of the rankings. He just adds to his points total, now 35. However, Martin Kalina and Martin Roussel move up a couple of spots each and end up in second and third place with 32 and 26. And Zdeněk Opletal is not that far behind with 25 points. So he's looking pretty good, pretty solid. Now we are going to take away 4 guys from the rankings. That means we're going to lose Václav Krkoška, Jan Kamir, Thomas Forstal, and Viteslev Sukup. They'll be eliminated from action as we move on to our next set of disciplines in round 2 coming up. And that first discipline is the single buck. Let's take a look at the tool and discipline for our misery whip. The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types: cutters and rakers, just like on the old school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success. Okay, so there we have our starting lineup for our single buck, and again, it is 8 athletes remaining in the competition. Ladislav Fikar will go up against Karel Diviš. Matyáš Klíma will go up against Zdeněk Maraš. Zdeněk Opletal will go up against Martin Roussel, and Martin Kalina will go up against Matyáš Klíma.
Kolikrát bylo v České republice, včetně dneška, mistrovství STS? 23, 18, 13. Je to tak. 23, opět gratulace a dres je váš. Tak gratulujeme, děkujeme.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Tak jo. Nemáte větší. Slečna bude odpovídat, tak tady to bude rozdělání, ale slečna bude rozdělání.
So Bart Janssen and Victor Klarmo in deep conversation about what I couldn't tell you, but they seem to be focusing heavily on stand number 2 on the right-hand side. But maybe it has nothing to do with the stand at all, and it's just some technical discussions that they're having with each other about how this discipline should go. And again, a 46 centimeter block needs to be cut through with one single cookie using that single saw, the so-called single buck, the 2 meter long crosscut saw. As you saw in the description earlier, it has very, very aggressive teeth and sweepers. And what's important here is it's really like dancing. You got to have that rhythm, and that rhythm needs to keep that saw moving. If that saw stops because you angle it just ever so slightly, then what's going to happen is you're going to end up sticking that saw. It might bow, and if you've got a thin cookie out front, that bow could break off that cookie and leave you with a little tooth at the bottom that you need to cut off, and that could result in a DQ if you don't get the tooth off. And if you do have that breakout that costs you a lot of time, the world record currently for this single buck without assistant is 10.47 seconds, and the season's best is 14.40. So we'll see if anybody comes close to these times here today. So Bart back there trying to push the guys a little bit and get them moving. Victor Klarmo waiting for the athletes to come out and bring their saws with. So again, Ladislav Fikar and Karel Diviš competing on stage in this first single buck discipline. So the guys will set a guide cut at the top so they don't have to start from a raw shortwood hopping situation up there. And that metal thing that you see in Bart's hand is a special tool that's been developed to check the depth of that guide cut to make sure that the saw sits evenly. And that tool has been duplicated many times over the years for each of our judges that come out on stage to make sure that they can be sure that the saw sits the same on the left stand as it does on the right stand. Details, 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 and they are what matters here, and especially in this discipline. It is about the flow, the detail of your positioning and just keeping that saw moving. It will do the work, but you have to keep it moving. So Ladislav Fikar on the left-hand side. There we see him, and Karel Diviš on the right side. You can just see the tip of his saw. Let's see if these guys have similar styles or completely opposing styles.
Okay. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Yeah, kind of similar styles for both Diviš and Fikar as they got started with quick cuts, but Diviš looking like he's gotten into a seriously speedy rhythm going towards the bottom of that cut. Oh, and there's that angle change and that stoppage of the saw that causes time killers. It's an 18-2-4 for Diviš. Oh, and there exactly was what we were talking about, that breakout from a stop by Fikar, but he held that saw in place. He used his power to make sure that he could get that little tab cut off, and you can see it just to the left there. So our judges will put that in place to make sure that they've got a complete cookie, but I think we'll be okay for Fikar on that cut.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so a very, very nice finish by Fikar there. Unfortunately, he broke that cookie off and had to cut that little tab. Killed his time a little bit, 23-14 for him. Karel Diviš sets the pace today, and was it ever a pace? He got in there very quickly. Both of them started with some quick shortcuts on that short wood at the top of the saw, but Diviš, once he got that saw moving, he kept it going really, really well. It was just about until the bottom of his cut that it started to cause him problems right here, where that angle change was a bit too much, but then he got it going again and got himself a fairly decent clean finish with an 18-04. Ladislav Fikar, you can see there that push hooked up a little bit, the saw bowed and then broke out. Here again, a better view of it. He comes back, he pushes through, the saw bows, breaks the piece off, but luckily the saw was in place and he got that little tab away. So good to be lucky, lucky to be good by Fikar. Time not the greatest, but he'll have to deal with it for now. I should also mention, after the single buck and the springboard in this second round, we will eliminate a further 2 athletes from competition, and we'll move on to the hot saw with only 6 athletes. So here it's about trying to be as consistent and quick as possible. Heat number 2 with Matyáš Klíma and Zdeněk Maráš. Matyáš Klíma, 50 years young and still rocking and rolling in timber sports. So, Matyáš Klíma, stand 1, left of your screen. Zdeněk Maráš, stand 2, right of your screen. And we are ready to go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Maráš getting into it. Boy, he's looking really good here. This might be a very, very good time for Zdeněk Maráš as he gets down to the bottom of that cut quickly. Oh my goodness, that is a fantastic time from Zdeněk Maráš with a season's best, personal best, 13.69, obliterating the previous season's best 14.40. What a cut from Zdeněk Maráš. Wow. Didn't see that coming. I blinked and he was finished. Whew. Matyáš Klíma, though, with a 17.82, a very, very nice time, sitting in second place. But wow, what a time by Zdeněk Maráš,
Okay.
even with a sore back.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
You can see he's sort of favoring his back a little bit there. He's not happy there after the underhand chop earlier, and he's been really, really suffering. But wow, what a cut by him, and that was gritting teeth and just going for it. And there has been an adjustment in the time. Zdeněk is a little bit slower, believe it or not, than Matyáš Klíma once they looked at everything. Interesting, Matyáš Klíma with a 13.40, so both of them taking personal best, but look at how deep he got into that one. What a cut there. I'm a little bit surprised by that time change there. Matyáš Klíma was definitely slower than Zdeněk Maráš, so I don't think that time is correct here as it got to the bottom of that cut. I think they're going to need to revisit that, in fact. Yeah, because Zdeněk Maráš was definitely faster than Matyáš Klíma. And now that, yeah, here we go. Now we're seeing some adjustments again. So Zdeněk Maráš with a 13.40 season's best. Matyáš Klíma with a 17.81. Still second place for the single buck for Matyáš Klíma. So heat 3 of 4 now with Zdeněk Opletal and Martin Rusal. So we saw Zdeněk with a really, really nice standing block chop earlier. Can he repeat that here in the single buck? Martin Rusal, we know he's a very good single sawyer. He can really move around all disciplines for the team. So let's see if he can pull it off nice and clean here today in this heat.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Martin Rusal with a very, very quick start. Zdeněk Opletal looking like he's struggling a little bit at the top of his cut there. Martin Rusal looking very solid towards the bottom, going for those long strokes, and it's been a nice time, 15.14. That puts Martin Rusal into second place. Zdeněk Opletal struggling a little bit at the bottom of his cut, makes a 23.90. These times are, of course, unofficial until the Competition Control Center has a chance to revisit them and make sure. But a very nice cut by Martin Rusal with a 14.92. And we've got the check mark there, that's official. And Zdeněk Opletal, slowest so far with a 23.69.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Martin Rusal just having fun here today. And that's the name of the game, isn't it? Having fun. So watch this quick start by Martin Rusal. He opted for shorter cuts, but faster cuts. Opletal, I think he was thinking about going for the long strides, but just didn't work out, and ended up going with a slower pace and shorter cuts, and it just didn't work up against Martin's speed here. Martin really went for it, and you can see the saw angle changes by Opletal as well, causing him problems as it hops back to try and restart. And that is just a bear to restart that saw when it starts doing that. Those sweeper teeth get hooked up on the edge of the wood, and then it's just about fighting the saw as well. And that kills your time, and that we saw very, very much with the time of Zdeněk Opletal with a 23.69. But Martin Rusal was clearly happy with his time, 14.92. So he'll take that one to the bank for sure as we get our final heat, heat number 4 with Matyáš Klíma and Matyáš Klíma. And this is a chance for Matyáš Klíma to jump up in the overall rankings. Currently he has 32 points, could potentially get 16 out of this one if he really has a good cut, which we know he can do here. And that would mean 48 points for him, but Matyáš Klíma has 35 points, so he really only needs to be about 3rd in order to take top spot again. But let's see how these guys go. Matyáš Klíma, one of the athletes featured in a YouTube series called Off Season. You can check that out about how these athletes train and get ready for the competitions when there are no competitions.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very nice start from Matyáš Klíma. Look at the pace he's got there. Oh my goodness, he is going for it. He's going to be fast. Matyáš Klíma looking very good as well, but Matyáš Klíma, oh, he struggled at the bottom, and that gave a chance for Matyáš to catch up, but both of them great times with a 15.18 and a 16.35. Really, really nice times, but it's going to be Zdeněk Maráš holding on to that fastest time of the day so far. Matyáš Klíma with a 15.18, Matyáš Klíma with a 16.17. And that is going to change things around in the overall standings quite significantly here. We'll see that in just a few minutes after we get the standings for single buck and then the overall.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, good runs by both of these guys, and Matyáš, boy, he really had it in for that block, but Matyáš Klíma, look at this, the concentration, the intensity from Matyáš. He just put everything he had into that one with pace, and he really had most definitely the fastest cut of the day up until the bottom of that cut when he got a little bit hooked up and slowed down. Now you can see Matyáš really using the entire length of that sauna. Watch right here. It hops, it slows him down, he's got to restart, and then that killed the time. Otherwise, I think he would have had the fastest time of the day. All right, so the results in single buck, it is Zdeněk Maráš with the fastest time and a personal best, the only one, and in fact a season's best there. Then it's Matyáš Klíma with a 14.91 and Martin Roussel with a 14.92. Matyáš Klíma, 10 points only with a 16.17. That means Matyáš is going to have 45 points in the overall standings, which means Matyáš Klíma will move ahead of him in the overall standings. And Matyáš Klíma will sit in second now. And Zdeněk Maráš makes a nice move up into 3rd place, pushing Martin Roussel down into 4th place in the overall standings. So it's now starting to get interesting as we get ready for our next discipline, which is the springboard. And that's what we see these guys getting everything brought in now. There'll be 2 tree stands set up out there on the deck. And it is basically meant to simulate felling a tree. It's going to be quite some time to set these up here. So in the meantime, maybe what we'll do is we'll take a look at our next discipline and what it means and how it's going to work. And then by that time, hopefully we'll have our first tree up and you get a bit of a view of the stage. Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27 centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible. All right, well, that was a fast description there. So basically, as you see, the trees are going to be built up and they have all these different pieces out there to make sure that the tree is in a very, very stable position. And what we'll do is we'll step away for just a few minutes. We'll let them build up the tree stands and get things ready to go on stage. And then once that is ready to go, we'll be back with our first discipline in the springboard. And that will be between Ladislav Fikar and Karel Diviš. Back shortly.
teďka trio že dáva. Super, super. Tak jak se dá vlastně trénovat? Podání?
Jak vypadají na tréninky, tak já chodím do tréninku studuju, možná bylo možná hodně. Já hlavně chci domů, já mám dřevo, mám tady si dneska, mám stoja, mám sekery, já budu tréninku, sekery, budu sekery, náloží sekery. A to si snažím se tam vlastně dělat si trénovat, pak se tam vždycky, aby se to
Wow. Posléze tam máme 8 borců a to už bude pátá disciplína a posléze už po této disciplíně dva borci vypadnou a jdeme výsledku budovat. krom ono samotného tréninku, do těch ostatních sportech, mají regenerace, fyzioterapie, taky v kybersportu.
A taky naším kluky, všichni chodíme prostě dělat sporty, dále máme rádi,
Máte registrace. No a tato které dostal do zaujíku, musíme zachovat protí systém, to znamená, že prosím vás, jestli mohou, pojďte znovu, i když samozřejmě dělám vás, které si nesmíru, tak abychom dostali státní, poprosíme znovu hasičské pokropení, pokud chcete, máme, dodržujte všichni režim, máme chvilku odpočinku a pak už se pustíme do, to je pátá disciplíny. Poprosíme trošku vody, pokud chcete, pojďte, ono už sluníčko začne zacházet za obzor, než se si to zapadá. Máme vrch na to, už to nebude, ano. Karolína Urbanová, Děkuju, gratuluji, poprosím, ano, hodně otáju, poprosíme o krásné odborné povídání, ten průhled do vnitra několik studáků, ale sportové duše. Tak a teď už nás čeká první dvojce, disciplíny se pohodlně, nejvíce se tam tady na disciplínu dobrá, takže na stran číslo 3 nastoupí Kariš a stran číslo 1.
All right, looks like we are good to go for our first springboard discipline here, and our first heat is Ladislav Fikar and Karel Diviš. Now again, just a reminder, they have to put in 2 boards, and once they get on that top board, they have to cut through that top block from both sides. Now, what you'll typically see is the athlete will get up on that second board and cut through quite deep on the first side, and then switch to what I like to call the awkward angle and cut through the backside with as few drivers as possible. The situation here is, though, it can be a little bit sticky. You want to make sure those pockets are set really correctly because you are 2 meters off the ground holding a very sharp instrument. So here we go. Excuse me. So Victor Klarmo and Bart Janssen returning to the stage to their positions to officiate, and looks like we are ready to go.
Okay, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So Ladislav Fikar with what looks like a 6-hit pocket to get that board in place. Gingerly test it. It's a bit of a saggy one as he'll try and get it a little bit better on that top pocket. And that's the one that's all important. It needs to be really, really stable in that top position in order to hold his body weight and be able to give him the power he needs to get up there and start to really work at that top block. Now, Karel Diviš is now on his bottom board. We can see Fikar is about a 10-hit pocket on that first side, and we're already closing in on a minute. The guys have a 2-minute 30-second window in order to make this happen. So that's a very nice looking board for Fikar on that top position, and he can get that foot farther back, in my opinion. He just needs to really work it, and as he starts to chip out that block at the top, passing the 1-minute mark here, he now has a minute 30 seconds to finish this off. He should be able to pull that off. Meanwhile, Karel Diviš is testing that second board, now getting up on top, and that's also a really nice looking board. Fikar getting nice and deep on that first side. I don't think it'll be long before Ladislav Fikar switches to that awkward angle, switches his foot position, and starts hitting from that back side. And we should see him get through in what should be a personal best time. Oh, a couple more drivers should do it. There it goes. Yes, 1:44.40, nice number as well, and a personal best for Ladislav Fikar. Now Karel Diviš switching to his awkward angle. Now he's definitely not going to have a personal best time. He has been faster, and this time it was really by virtue of how long it took him to set up those pockets, and he's really got to be quick about it. He's got 15 seconds left to go before he gets a DQ for exceeding the time limit. He should be able to do it. He's got to get through here, and he's got to really be careful that he doesn't wrench that block off the top either. But it's getting really close to the wire here. There it goes. Oh, just under at 2:24.58. So a couple of times that are not super fast, and this is the difficulty of this particular discipline. It is really about being able to do everything perfectly. So the boys will come down to the decision zone with Victor Klarmo.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Fikar with a 1:44.16 personal best, and Karel Diviš just in under the wire at 2:24.47. And it really comes down to setting these pockets as quickly as possible and getting up on that block and working it as fast as possible. And, I mean, the optimal pocket is 4 hits up, and get to work up there on the top. Diviš took a long time setting those pockets. Fikar was quicker on that first board. You could see a little bit tentative for Diviš on that first board. Meanwhile, Fikar was already on top and working that top block. It was a really nice run for Ladislav Fikar here, who ends up with the fastest time so far and a personal best. You can see how deep he was on that first side, and that final driver to cut that block off from the second side, and he's happy with that result. All right, next heat coming up will be Matyáš Klíma and Zdeněk Maráš. Zdeněk Maráš has a very, very fast personal best time. Let's see if he can really make that happen. We saw a fantastic single bulk from him earlier. He could gain some exceptionally good points here if he can pull off that 49.79 PB of his. Meanwhile, Matyáš Klíma has a personal best of 2:06.59, so that's getting pretty close to the wire, and if he is not feeling it today, we may be seeing him in trouble with that time limit. Let's hope not.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So a 6-hit pocket for Zdeněk Maráš. It's looking good so far. It was about 10 hits for Matyáš Klíma. Zdeněk wasting no time to get that second board in place, so you can see him getting up there really fast. Now he starts working on that top block. We probably won't see a super fast time from him, but it might well be the fastest time of the day, as he is coming in around the 45-second mark now. He'll switch over to that awkward angle. Matyáš Klíma working on that second pocket still. And Zdeněk Maráš is already on that second side. Very nice cut from Zdeněk Maráš. 58.74, not his fastest time, but that is the time to beat for now. 1:07 now the time as Matyáš Klíma gets up on his board. He is not looking too happy with that, but he's going to have to live with it if he wants to get through there. He's got that foot on the back, looking okay. He can use that power. He doesn't want a shoulder cut, that's for sure. So, you know, you want to be up there and, oh, a bit of a sag in the board. Now, what that means is that if he wants to stay on that board and not reposition or refix his pocket, he needs to step forward. And then stepping forward means he's not really using that back leg and his hips for the cutting. He is, what I was just saying, shoulder cutting or arm cutting, and that takes away the power, it slows you down, and it tires you out very, very quickly. And then what happens is you get these flat cuts, is what we're seeing right now from Matyáš Klíma. So he's coming up on the 2-minute mark here. He's got 30 seconds to make this happen. It is possible, but he's got quite a lot of material to get through in those 30 seconds, and we may see our first DQ, which we never like to see. But Matyáš Klíma, you can clearly see he is tired, he is insecure on that board. He's moved forward in order to have himself stable, but he's still got quite a lot of material to get through on that second side. Gingerly changing over his foot position and now the awkward angle. He's got 3 seconds to do it, and it is not going to happen. That is going to be a DQ for time limit exceeded. Unfortunate for Matyáš Klíma, and that is going to mean 0 points for him in this discipline. That is going to hurt big time when it comes down to the overall standings. Zdeněk Máras, however, really nice time, 58:27. So that is the time to beat right now, and you can see he's still really struggling with his back. He had to get the guys to bring a ladder over so he could climb down, and he gets a little bit of help as he heads toward the center for the results.
Okay, unfortunately we have a disqualification on this stand, out of time. However, stand 4, your cut is good.
All right, so hopefully Zdeněk Máras is not doing more damage to his back than need be for this competition, but he has really put in a gargantuan effort here with his back being the way it is. He's probably gone back and spoken to the doctor, and the doctor said, look, it's gonna hurt, but you'll be okay. That's important for these guys to know. And now he gets up there, and he climbed up there quick. I mean, he was up on top of that block fast and really working at it. You can see he was pretty confident with that board. His front foot was well back of the main tree, and his back foot could have been farther back, but whatever, it worked for him, and he got through in under a minute's time. So that was a great run for Zdeněk Máras, who's been favoring his back all day long. And thankfully, he didn't have to hold that block up, that it didn't stick in the axe, which has happened before. But you can see him here trying to figure out how to get down and calling for a ladder. So live results so far, Zdeněk Máras with a 58:27. At the moment has a full 16 points, and unfortunately for Matyáš Klíma, it is a DQ for time limit exceeded. So now what will happen is those 4 stands will be reset with 4 more top blocks for our next 2 heats, and that's going to be Zdeněk Opletal, Martin Roussel in heat number 3, and Martin Kalina and Matyáš Klíma in heat number 4. Say that 10 times fast. So 2 more heats to go, then we'll narrow our field down to our last 6 athletes for the hot saw. At the moment, Zdeněk Máras has 55 points after his springboard, getting the full 16 points for the moment. That may change, that may stay the same. We will see. But he has been pretty consistent throughout the underhand chop, stock saw, and standing block chop. 3rd place in the underhand chop. Stock saw, he was 6th, and in the standing block chop, he had 2nd place. So that's a really nice consistent run so far. In the single buck, he won that one, and by virtue of that, takes the 16 points in the single buck. So now, if he can hold on, if that time stands for him, he'll have a good solid 16 points in the springboard, and that will bode well for him, who is currently atop the rankings. Karel Divish and Ladislav Fikar are currently in 5th and 6th place in the rankings after the springboard. So right now, Ladislav Fikar and Karel Divish are the guys that are kind of on the bubble. So it looks like the blocks now in place for heat number 3 with Zdeněk Opletal and Martin Roussel. And you could see Matyáš Klíma in stand number 4 there getting his block ready to put in place. He just needs the ladder, which will come to him now, so he'll be able to get up there and put it in. See Matyáš wanting the piano a little more in the corner of the room. He wants to have a straight block when he gets up there, which is completely understandable. Deep inspections from Matyáš there as he walks the perimeter of the stand to see that that block is actually sitting as straight as desired. He seems like it's okay, so the helper up there will get the impact wrench and start putting those long security screws in place to hold the block in. These particular tree stands take quite a bit of time to set up. There are more efficient systems, but ideally it would be great to have 8 stands with the boards and blocks already set and ready to go. And then the athletes just need to come out, go to work, and then it would be a quick change, taking the entire stand out of place. Obviously that doesn't work with these particular ones because of the nature of those long footings and dog rails, but yeah, live and learn as we move on and set up our last 2 heats coming up here with Zdeněk Opletal and Martin Roussel and Martin Kalina and Matyáš Klíma. So Zdeněk Opletal on the left-hand side of your screen will have stand number 1, and Martin Roussel will have stand number 3. Now, Zdeněk Opletal is a big man. From power perspective, great for him. From a weight perspective, he needs to really be sure that these pockets are impeccable to make sure that he is safe on those boards.
Stand
Here we go.
to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Eight-hit pocket for Martin Roussel. And he's going to have a bit of a saggy one there. He's going to have to be careful that this doesn't give way on him. Now, he doesn't like it. He's going down, and he's going to do some housekeeping on that pocket to make sure that that board is properly placed. Now, this is where the time gets killed. Zdeněk Opletal, he gets on that board, and he does not care at all. It's holding him. It's not really sagging badly, but he's going to step forward. He really needs to only set that pocket on the top one and make sure that top pocket is, as I said, impeccable. Martin Roussel, meanwhile, he's got a saggy board, and at this point, he doesn't care. he needs to get that second board placed and get up there and start chopping that top block. Martin's got a personal best of 55.83, but he's gone well past that now. And so far, Zdeněk Marash's time of 58.27 is holding steady. Roussel gets up on that top board. Now that top board looks really nice, and he wants some audience participation. At this point, he knows he doesn't have the best time, so at this point, he is just about making sure that he feels good on that board. It's got a little bit of sag, but the tooth has taken hold by the looks of it, and it doesn't look like it's going to come out. Hopefully not. Opletal still trying to set his board as they pass the 135 mark in the time limit here. So they've got about a minute left, just under, to get through that top block. Roussel having to shoulder cut now, stepping forward on that board. That is a very, very steep and angled board by Opletal, but that's going to be great for him because he can step back on that board and really start to power into that top block, and he's going to need to do that here because Roussel is now just nearing the 2-minute mark, so he's got 30 seconds to get through that board, while Opletal has 30 seconds to get through both sides of his. Roussel on the second side should be able to do it, and that top board is looking a little bit sketchy. One more driver, and there he goes. 2:20.31. And he's like, what? All right, that is a DQ, unfortunately, for Opletal for over the time, but he seems okay with it. And that's something that these guys are going to have to come back to and look at and figure out, okay, where did I go wrong? What do I need to do to improve the situation? In my opinion here, it's those pockets. Get them done quick, get those boards in and move. If that bottom board isn't ideal, okay, not the end of the world. As long as it's stable, get that second board, though, in that impeccable position, and then go from there. And Martins is under review. Now, what they could be looking for here is if he wrenched it off the top there and used his axe to twist the block instead of cutting through. But we'll see what our judges say. They'll go back to Competition Control Center. Could be any number of things here, but we'll check this first with our judges. Okay, it looks like they could have an issue with his final driver. It went in, cut the block off, but the driver or the axe stayed in position. Not 100% sure here, so we'll see what Victor Clarmo says.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have a disqualification of stand 1 out of time. However, stand 3, your cut is good.
Okay, so a little bit of a relief breath there from Martin Roussel, who was on the verge of perhaps being disqualified after a long discussion between Bart Janssen and Victor Clarmo, but it did turn out that the cut was good. So Martin Roussel will, in fact, have a fair cut with a number in the books of 2 minutes, 20 seconds, 0.06. And again, it really came down to these guys getting those first pockets set and getting them set quickly. Roussel tried to get it set quickly, needed to do a little bit of house cleaning. You can see here, he got up there, but then the board started to sag on him a bit more than he liked. Opletal was really doing a lot of house cleaning here. He was building himself a closet instead of a notch or a pocket for that board. But he got up there. That second board was beautiful for Opletal, though, and Roussel's was also not bad. It started to sag a little bit as he looked for some crowd participation, and it was just too long in the timing for Opletal, which was unfortunate for him, a DQ and 0 points. But Roussel will have 12 points for the moment with one more heat to go. And that right there, that moment where the axe was in the block, is what our judges were looking at to see if perhaps there was a wrenching action, but at the end of the day, they said it was okay and it was a fair cut. All right, Martin Kalina and Matyáš Klíma up now. And this is the final heat before the next elimination where 2 athletes will fall out. And we will move on to the hot saw with 6 remaining athletes. Matyáš Klíma has a personal best of 55.40. For the moment, Zdeněk Maráš's time holds steady with a 58.27. Let's see if Matyáš can pull it together in this one and do some damage. Martin Kalina, a personal best of 138.34 in this discipline. Will he have a stellar day and beat that time, or perhaps make it under a minute? Again, one of the most difficult disciplines, and in my opinion, the true maker or breaker.
Okay.
Here we go.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
7-hit pocket there for Klíma. Kalina still working on his pocket. That was about, I'm going to say 12 to 13, and he still can't find a good position for the boards. Matyáš Klíma, however, has a nice solid first board and is working to get that second board in position. He's got his pocket set, second board in, looks like a good solid lock on the tooth, and he gets up there under the watchful eye of the entire crew in the background there and starts working on that top board. 35 seconds to get going on that top board, and that looks good for Matyáš Klíma. He's got his back foot well back there. He's pushing off of it. He's hip rotating into his cuts. It's looking like a very, very nice possibility for a good time here for Matyáš Klíma. Will it be faster than 58 seconds, though, is the question. Doesn't look like it. No, it's not going to be there. Just over a minute for Matyáš Klíma. A good time puts him in second position in the springboard behind Zdeněk Maráš, whose time holds steady. And Martin Kalina now trying to find himself a good time on that top board. He might go past his personal best. Yep, I think that's going to happen, in fact. Let's see here. He's got a good flat board. He could theoretically step back a little bit farther, but he's definitely going to go past his personal best, but he should be in there in under 2 minutes time with this cut. Very narrow cuts on this first side, though, and he's doing a lot of straight cuts now. So that means, for me, it looks like he's getting a bit tired. Backside, awkward angle. Oh, I don't know if he's going to make it in under those 2 minutes. He's got 6 seconds to get it done. Can he make it happen? Yes, he can. 1:57.87. Not a personal best, but he'll take that as the 4th fastest time here and under 2 minutes. So very, very good for Martin Kalina, as well, as he springs down like a 14-year-old kid at the jungle gym.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so after an adjustment, Matyáš Klíma actually is under a minute at 59.88, but Zdeněk Maráš, with the fastest time in the springboard, has done it 2 times in a row with the top scores. So that means the single buck will go to Zdeněk Maráš and the springboard will go to Zdeněk Maráš as we take a look back at the slow-mos. And that's going to bode well for Zdeněk, because he's going to have a solid position in the final 6. And we are going to lose Matyáš Klíma and Zdeněk Opletal from our remaining 8 athletes. We'll take a look at the official final results shortly here after we see right there. That was Martin Kalina trying to find a clean first pocket. And here you see Matyáš up on that top board. Look at the angle. You can see all eyes steadily on Matyáš as he focused on murdering that board. That top block. Wow, the face on him here. And Martin Kalina trying to find a clean second pocket. Oh yes, and one driver was the difference maker there. Yeah, and we could see here it was already at the 1 minute mark that Martin Klíma was on that top board and working. So, springboard results. I don't think we're going to see any major changes in the overall standings, with the exception of perhaps Zdeněk Máras moving up a notch. He was fastest in the single saw, and he was fastest in the springboard. So let's have a look here. Yes, there we go. So Máras holds down third position, Klíma second position, and Klíma first position. And you can see 59, 56, and 55 points are what we're seeing in the top three positions. And then Martin Roussel with the 46. Now, there is still an opportunity for Martin Roussel to take over a podium position, but he has to have an epic hot saw. And that is what we're going to check out next, is the hot saw. Meanwhile, these custom handmade race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision, and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder two-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms, and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL Timbersports is upward of 6,000 euros. Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action, and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification. All right, so there is our list for the hot saw, and as you see, it is only 3 athletes, but there is a total possible of 18 points for the fastest hot saw cut in order to bolster your overall standings. And we did lose Matyáš Klíma and Zdeněk Opletal from our top 8 athletes. They are eliminated from competition, and we move on to the hot saw with Karel Diviš, Ladislav Fikar, Martin Roussel, Zdeněk Máras, Martin Klíma, and Matyáš Klíma. So the stage crew doing their level best to get that area cleaned up quickly and ready for the hot saws. Our 2 Lexon shields are in place from earlier on in the day. They never actually got moved out of place. They'll be repositioned for our hot saw heats, and we'll add another couple of Lexon shields. Now, those Lexon shields are there in case anything flies off of those very, very powerful motor saws. And we'll take a look here at how this round 2 came to be. So Máras was fastest in the single buck and the springboard. And you can see that Máras actually held in that third place position very well. So there is our overall for the moment. Klíma, Klíma, Máras, Roussel, Fikar, and Diviš. Great job by our stage crew to get those rigs out of the way fairly quickly. Now, I don't know if you could hear in the background there, but they were warming up the hot saws ever so briefly. You could hear them winding up and getting them warmed up. They do a backstage warm-up of the hot saws before they come out on stage here to make sure that the carbon scoring and everything was cleaned out, and any deposits in the chambers and cylinders are also blown out of there. The athletes will be given an opportunity to warm up their saws again on stage here. The difference between the hot saw and the stock saw, however, is that the hot saw is a cold start. It doesn't mean the motor is cold, it just means that the athlete is responsible for starting the motor up from a dead position here and then doing their cuts. And again, 15 centimeters for 3 cuts, 3 cookies on the deck is not a lot of space. So there is a lot going on with these very, very heavy, very powerful saws. So it is about 8 minutes time before we can get the hot saw underway. That's an approximation. By the way, these guys are working on stage here. It looks like it might be a little bit faster than that. And we will have our final competition, our final discipline, and our final round underway. So stick with us for a few more minutes, and we will get the gas heads satisfied in this one.
Posuneme breku. Teď máš štěstí, jdeme dohromady. Jestli dáš stejnou breku, tak to tam padne. Takže borec. A statice fál, vrazí za dalšího. Vypadnoušího, štěpice je tvoje a slečna tentokrát nemusí. Ale dál. Takže máme 5000 závodníků. Pořád je to o tom, že už musíme trefit tu krabici a tu breku.
All right, looks like we're coming pretty close to it. And on the left-hand side of the stage, you can see one of the athlete's saws already up there, and you can see what a beast it is. that long bar with that bulb middle and that very, very aggressive, specially designed and sharpened chain. The highly rigged up motor to make sure that it is turning that chain at up to 250 kilometers an hour. That thing will cut through the wood like it's a hot knife through warm butter. So yeah, there's a lot going on with these saws. They're shaking, they're rattling, they're rolling, and you got to control it for 3 clean cookies on the deck. That means complete cookies and no cutouts, no cut lines. So there is a lot going on here. You can also maybe hear in the background one of the other saws being warmed up. So during the national competitions, we will almost inevitably have 2 athletes on stage with their saws at the same time. When it comes down to the individual world championships, however, each athlete will be on stage 1 at a time. So if you do get a chance to come and join us in Stuttgart on October 31st for the individual world championship, that is quite the experience, I will have to say. And you will enjoy it. Tickets are still available if you look online, and we would love to see you join us in Stuttgart. It is also the 100th anniversary of STIHL as a company, so that is going to be quite the party in Stuttgart, the home of STIHL. And if you can get tickets, please do join us. It will be very, very, very much fun. So we are just over a minute away from our final discipline and our last round, round number 3 here at the STIHL Timbersports Czech Championship 2026. It's been a pretty solid day for most of our expected leaders. Matyáš Klíma, Martin Kalina, Martin Roussel, all of them are in this final round here. Zdeněk Maráš was a bit of a surprise for me in there, as well as Ladislav Fikar and Karel Diviš. So these 3 guys are going to be challenging for a spot on the podium. Right now, the point spread looks like this. Karel Diviš has 28 points, so it's going to be a tough job for him to get up there. It's basically going to be a DQ by everybody and him getting some points, but even then, it might be hard. But he will take the points and the time into his overall standings, which ranks you on the European level. Then we have Ladislav Fikar. He's got 30 points at the moment. Again, for him, tough to get into that top spot. He had a really solid springboard, but the rest of the day was middle or lower middle pack, and that really isn't going to cut it. Now where it gets interesting is with Martin Roussel. He's got 46 points. He's had a pretty solid and stable day throughout. Only one kind of low point was the standing block chop, but the rest of the way, he's been pretty good. Zdeněk Maráš, wow, what a surprise he was in round 2, winning both of the disciplines in round 2, the single buck and the springboard. He's got 55 points, and at the moment, he is in the bronze medal position. But that said, he could be atop the podium if he has a flawless hot saw cut. Then we have Martin Kalina, 56 points, only 1 point ahead of Zdeněk Maráš in the overall rankings. And again, it's about the hot saw. And then we have Matyáš Klíma, 59 points. So now it's down to the hot saw and who can really be solid. Not a great start, though, by Karel Diviš. The saw did not start on his first pull, so he's got to rewrap that cord and try and get that beast running. Look at the size of that thing. Oh, no. This is not looking good here for both of these guys. They can't get those saws started. They have 30 seconds to get those saws started and warmed up. If they don't, they have to hope that during competition, they will actually spring to life and they'll be able to cut. But this is not a good situation for Karel Diviš and Ladislav Fikar in this first heat here. Oh boy.
Okay, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber.
They're going to have to
3,
hope and
2,
hope.
1, go!
So this is the worst nightmare for a hot saw athlete. Not getting that saw started and the time running away on them. Hot saw world record, 4.28 seconds. We're well past that. And the season's best, 4.53 seconds. Not far off that world record. And I believe if we get to a minute's time, that is going to be a DQ for time exceeded. We will see. How frustrating is it for these guys, though, especially after the saws have been warmed up backstage? "50 seconds now, and we can know this is not going to be a situation that's going to work for either of these guys here." Yep, there we go. 1 minute DQ for time limit exceeded. Oh, what a heartbreak for Karel Diviš and Ladislav Fikar.
Okay, unfortunately, both DQ did not finish.
Okay, so 2 DQs. That leaves a lot of points open here for the Heat 2 and 3. And a lot of wood left to cut. Martin Roussel and Zdeněk Maráš will be our next athletes coming out onto the stage. Martin Roussel will have stand 1 on the left and Zdeněk Maráš stand 2 on the right. Zdeněk Maráš and Martin Roussel have very, very similar personal best times. Martin with a 6.71, Zdeněk with a 6.97, and both of them very, very nice times as well. Now we got to throw down a little bit of sawdust to mop up some of the fuel leakage from Karel Diviš's saw, excuse me, Ladislav Fikar's saw. Martin Roussel. Zdeněk Maráš. Zdeněk has an opportunity here to pad his points and get himself on that podium. Needs a good cut though. 3 on the deck and in a fast time. Here we go.
Okay, warm up your saw.
So Martin Roussel's got his started up. And now, Zdeněk Maráš. Look at that beast.
30 seconds.
So now 30 seconds to rewrap that cord, get it locked in position, and get ready to go with hands on the wood.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, Martin Roussel with a good pull, but he's got a cutout cookie. He's going to have to go back and cut another one, and that's going to kill his time, and we don't have times up on screen yet there. So let's see what our competition control center does have to say about that, because the timers did not start. Roussel did have a cutout, went back in, and smartly cut a fourth cookie to make sure that he had 3 on the deck that were complete. The question is, are they all complete, and did he do it within the line? Still no times.
Okay. Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, so we have 2 good cuts. We still have no times yet, but I believe that Zdeněk Marash's time is going to be faster than Martin Roussel because of the fact that Martin, so here we look at this again. He got into the wood and hesitated, had to reposition. Good first cookie, nice and thin. There's the cutout on the second cookie. He saw it. Good thin third cookie, and then he steps back in and goes for a fourth. Very nice thin fourth cookie, so he's got 3 on the deck. Here we go with Zdeněk. He positioned himself. First cookie's a little bit of a fatty. Nice transition. Took a little bit of time there. I'm going to say that's probably a 7.5 second cut, maybe even a bit longer. We'll have to wait and see what the competition control center comes back with. And there was that final cut from Martin Roussel. So they'll reset those blocks with a nice clean front face cut to make sure that everything is nice and even. Still no times up for those 2 guys, and I can see Bart Janssen talking with the competition control center, trying to figure out what's going on here. Here we go. Now the times are coming up. So we have an official time for Zdeněk Maraš of 8.31. Martin Roussel is 11.04. So as I predicted, a little bit slower than my 7:30, but Zdeněk Maraš with an 8.31 is the fastest time so far, with 1 more heat to go, and that's going to be the all decision-making heat here. And right now, Zdeněk Maraš with 73 points atop the leaderboard. Martin Klíma will have stand 1. Matyáš Klíma with stand number 2. And there we go. The official times for the previous heat are now shown up on our digital board. So hopefully that issue's been resolved for the upcoming heat between Matyáš Klíma and Martin Klíma. So it looks like Bart Janssen is insisting that the additional Lexon shields be placed in position, given that a few pieces of wood were flying away earlier on. Wants to make sure that nothing untoward can happen. So at least one of them has been placed in, and they're looking for the fourth one now by the looks of it. There it is. All right, so we have a go-ahead on stage as Matyáš and Martin come out for the final heat in the final round of this Czech Championship 2026. Last markings for both guys, and God forbid either of their saws don't start, and we see a couple of more DQs. I don't want to jinx the situation at all, but yeah, this is a very, very finicky piece of equipment. Anything can happen, as you've seen with the first two gentlemen that were on stage and had DQs because of non-starting saws that killed their time. So here we go with the warm-up.
Okay, warm up your saws.
Klíma, such a legend, pulled that string, made sure the saw was running, and then just casually dropped the handle down behind him there. So both saws got started. Both guys are ready to go. Last safety checks. And it is time to see who of the top 3 guys are going to be our champion for the Czech National Championship.
Okay, athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, very nice cuts from Matyáš Klíma. He's got to go in and reset, but it is a fine cut from Matyáš and Martin Kalina. Oh, but Matyáš looks like he might be upset that he's gone over the line, or, yeah, we have a flag on the play here, and we can see Matyáš is visibly upset with a cut there. He's got a big angle on that cookie, and it could be that he's got a cut line, which could mean a DQ if, in fact, there is a cut line or an incomplete disc. And that would mean, for Matyáš, he loses the title. Let's see. So this is what we see often, is when there is an incidental cut into the top and the athlete repositions to make the cut, they want to check and see if they've got all the pieces that are possibly there to make a complete cookie. So this is where it comes down to pins and needles for a guy like Matyáš. But I love the fact that they're taking the time with this and really ensuring that they've got all the pieces there to make sure that if they can puzzle it back together, because it has happened before where a disc has been cut thin and hit the deck and broken apart, and they've needed to find the parts and put the puzzle back together to make a complete disc, in which case it would be a fair cut. So this is what they're looking at right now, is that top position complete and rounded. Looks like we're going to get a DQ for Matyáš, but that remains to be seen. I am not a judge, thankfully. So it will come down to a final decision from Viktor Klarmo here. And we'll know shortly.
Okay. Unfortunately, we have a disqualification on stand 2, incomplete disc. Stand 1, your cut is good.
Oh, heartbreak from Matyáš Klíma. 0 points in the discipline, and that means he'll have 3rd place on the day. Zdeněk Maráš will have a silver medal, and Martin Kalina, that man right there, is your new Czech champion. He had a good clean cut. Solid time of 6.91. And it was just a small mistake here at the top. Matyáš jumped in on, I think it was his 3rd cut here. Wait for it. He pushed in. Yeah, he had to pull out and reposition, and he didn't have the top part of that cookie remaining, unfortunately. Oh, such a wrestling match with that saw as well. So difficult. Yeah, you could see there, he knew it as well right away. I mean, to be fair, the judges did look at that situation as closely as possible and puzzling everything back together to make sure that they did have everything, but unfortunately it is a DQ for Matyáš Klíma. So in the meanwhile, the hot saw rankings look like this. Martin Kalina is your winner with 18 points, 6.91 seconds. Zdeněk Maráš with an 8.31, 15 points. And Matyáš Klíma with a DQ still has enough points to take 3rd place in the overall. And that means Martin Kalina is your new Czech champion, with Zdeněk Maráš in the silver medal position in 2nd place, 4 points behind. And Matyáš Klíma with 59 points by virtue of a disqualification in the hot saw. And that means Matyáš Kalina actually slips in between Gavin Thompson and Glenn Pendleton in the European rankings with 13 points. So the European rankings is how we determine who from the European side of things is going to go to the individual world championships later in October. Still lots of action to come this year. We've got the Italians, we've got DACH, we've got the Germans, we've also got the Polish championship coming up. So a lot of competition still to come this season to determine who is going to be sitting among the top 8 in the European rankings to move on to the World Championships in October in Stuttgart. So that is a massive podium that they're building up there. Look at the number 3. It's a huge block of wood. If the number 3 looks like that, I can't even imagine what number 1 looks like. Oh, never mind. There it is. It's a huger block of wood. Holy moly. Quick attempt to move that block by our stage manager, but he opted out. He's going to need a little help. All right, it looks like we might be ready for our awards ceremony, and I do believe that we'll be introducing all of the athletes from 12th right up until 4th before we bring out our top 3. Our fireworks crew on the right-hand side.
Takže snad už nám nic nevyní a sečkají. Dámy a pánové, vážení a milí sportovní přátelé, dovolte nám v této chvíli odstartovat slavnostní ceremoniál a hned vyhlášení výsledků STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Czech Championship 2026 a hned republikové finále mistrovství České republiky v Timbersportu, kdy za společnost András Šiklovou. Za společnost Agrokár je stále Milan Hrubý. Srdečně starostu Frečkářů Podrnoštěn, pana Jana Rejmana. Ale protože vy už jste dělali na to, jak to dopadlo, tak pojďme rychle na výsledky od 12. místa nahoru. 12. dnes závod dokončil Václav Krkoška.
So we're bringing out from 12th till 4th, Václav Krkoška. Then we have Jan Kamír. And coming next we have Tomáš Vostal. I had high hopes for Thomas, but his performance wasn't there today. Couple of small faux pas in there, and yeah, 10th place for him as well. Next up to come up on stage is Vítězslav Sukup. And next up in 8th is Zdeněk Opletal. And now in 7th place, Matyáš Klíma, just shy of getting into the final. And you can see he's a bit disappointed by that, but he is definitely one to watch out for. He's been around for a while. 7th place at the Czech Pro Championship 2026, Matyáš Klíma. Next up we have Karel Diviš, 6th place. following in 5th place, we have Ladislav Fikar. Smiling faces all around, which is nice to see. Now in 4th place, and he came ever so close, Martin Rusal. And it was by virtue of a pretty rough springboard and a non-starting saw that he's sitting here in 4th place today. But we'll definitely see Martin in the Czech team at the World Championships. He's a key member there for sure. All right, now moving on to our top 3 athletes. And in the 3rd position, it is the defending champ and now relegated down to 3rd, Matyáš Klíma. He had a rough hot saw, and had he had 3 on the deck, would have been a different situation, but you know he's going to be thinking about that one a lot. 3rd place, and the bronze medal goes to Matyáš Klíma. And we'll definitely see him on the Czech team at the Worlds, no doubt about it. And the statement there was probably, hey, you can use this to practice your hot saw cuts. That was mean. Yeah, bronze medal for Matyáš Klíma. And now we move on to our silver medalist, and a fantastic performance today, about the most consistent all day long, except for Martin, is Zdeněk Maráš. And his back is not looking very, very fun. Hopefully he'll be okay as we head towards the Worlds, and he'll be part of the team as well. Very, very nice performance all day long. 6th place in stock saw, 3rd place in underhand chop, 2nd place in standing block chop, then 1st place in single buck, 1st place in springboard, and a 3rd place in the hot saw, and that sees him up on the podium. Excuse me, 2nd place in the hot saw. My mistake. Oh, the poor guy can barely bend down to put his stuff down on the podium. What an effort. What an effort by Zdeněk Maráš. Fantastic day for him. Big congratulations. And of course, the man of the day, the man of the hour, our gold medal and winner, Martin Kalina, with the future of timber sports in his arms. Both of them have the same haircut. The gold medalist for the Czech Pro Championship 2026. An absolute legend in Czech timber sports. Yep, got to take the biggest prize away to make room for all of the smaller prizes. Oh, yes. And I believe that is the Centennial Saw that he's getting. Only 500 of those were made to celebrate 100 years of STIHL. They are fantastic machines. And there is the trophy. Look at that thing. That is a beauty. Fantastic. And time for the champagne showers. Oh, big disadvantage for Matyáš Klíma as the other boys pop the champagne and get him caught unawares with the trophy in his hand, and it's just falling apart. Oh no. Oh my goodness. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you guys have enjoyed the STIHL Timbersports Czech Pro Championship 2026. There was a ton of action, a few delays, but it was fantastic, cutting and sawing all day long with one deserved winner, and that would be Matyáš Klíma atop the podium, followed by Zdeněk Maráš and his sore back. We hope to see him back and in good shape with that healed up by the time he's got that next competition. And of course, Matyáš Klíma, disappointing day for him, going from the championship to a third place, but you know he's motivated and he'll be back. Till next time, everybody, we hope you enjoyed. Take care and ciao.